Hi girls, good morning and welcome back to a new video. I am so excited for today's video because honestly, it could not happen at a better time. Today's video is all about 5 tips to get through the gloomiest season of the year, and boy, oh boy, are we in the thick of that currently here in the Midwest. I'm pretty certain we haven't seen the sun in 5 days, maybe 4, but most likely 5. It has been dark, gloomy, and rainy. We've had a little bit of beautiful snow, and then the rain will come in the afternoon and melt it all away. If it's going to be dark and dreary, I say, like always, bring the magic of the winter and let us actually enjoy the snow. But that has not been the case. So for today's video, I'm going to talk through 5 different ways that we can really strategically get ourselves feeling our absolute best during this very gloomy season. So this first one may be a wee bit of a shameless plug. If you are a subscriber of my channel, then you are probably very familiar with the lemon ginger tonic. But when it comes to having energy and feeling our best, it is extremely multifactorial. It of course comes down to our sleep, our hydration, our nutrition. There's a lot that goes into feeling our best regardless of the season and whether it is gloomy or sunny, but especially when we don't have that beautiful bright vitamin D shining in the sky. It is even more important to be conscientious of our foundational habits. And you guys know that I love to start my day every day for the last 10 years with this drink. You can either make this in the blender or the juicer. I have shared both here on my channel. I'm going to be making it in the juicer today. I will have those videos linked for you in the description box down below. The reason I like to start my day, one, hydrated with a lemon ginger tonic first thing in the morning. But next to that, something that we are currently focusing on right now inside the Living Well membership area is the gut hormone connection. And so our gut is called the second brain, and there is that gut-brain axis. So those butterflies in your stomach feeling, that anxiety that we can get sometimes in our stomach, does come down to gut health. And when we start our day by flushing our digestive system with these beautiful nutrients and anti-inflammatory properties, preferably warm. It doesn't have to be hot, but I do get that question quite a bit, like, can you drink it over ice? Sure, I would rather you do it at like a room temperature to warmer versus cold, because in the morning we want to slowly wake up that digestive system. So we're waking up our digestive system, and therefore we're positively impacting that gut-brain axis and our serotonin levels and our vagus nerve. It is such an intricate role, the way that we feel in comparison to how we hydrate and how we support our digestive system. And then from a hormonal standpoint, our liver is critically important at helping us have happy, healthy hormones. And all night long, that liver is working to our advantage as the master detoxifier to detox our bodies. And so when we can come in and help assist the liver finish off by flushing out that bile and regenerating and starting anew each day, it's going to positively impact our hormones. So there are so many reasons that I'm selfishly including the lemon ginger tonic as my first tip to get through the gloomiest season. But for all of you who've been a part of this community, leave a comment down below, because I'm sure that the other girls who are just stumbling across my channel or this video for the first time would love to hear from your firsthand experience, because I know so many of you feel as though it's the only way you can quite possibly start your day, and I am right there with you. And girls, remember, we toss these in a stasher bag and then we pop them in the freezer and we enjoy them as little delicious refreshers that we can pop in our water throughout the week. feel like I have mastered the art of eyeballing how many lemons and how much ginger based on their size will make 16 ounces. That is pretty darn impressive right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of this bottled up for the week ahead. I know that this is one that nobody wants to hear, but honestly, waking up earlier, and hear me out, I always say this in every single one of my morning routines. I am not innately a morning person, but waking up earlier, I find helps me tremendously because then I am taking advantage of the earlier hours when the sun, if it does come up, I'm taking advantage of as much daylight as I possibly can and thus falling asleep earlier. So I'm a big fan of waking up at least an hour and a half, most likely 2 hours before my kids. And that gives me a really beautiful start to my day. It allows me to enjoy the lemon ginger tonic. I do my legs up the wall. I do a little bit of breathing, gratitude journaling, and I get to a little bit of creative work first thing in the morning. And I find that this helps me feel a bit more productive. It kind of allows me to check a few great boxes, which builds momentum throughout my day. I know that if I wake up and I sleep in a little bit, I'm already feeling behind. And then if it's dark and gloomy outside, I'm less motivated to kind of muster up the courage to get things done and be productive. Whereas if I wake up early, I have my lemon ginger tonic, check. That's a really great thing that I've checked off my list. I've done my legs up the wall, a little bit of lymphatic drainage. I've done a meditation or a prayer, a bit of gratitude journaling, or I get a huge chunk of creative work done. Then that really builds that momentum. And therefore, during daylight savings and during this very dark, gloomy season, I begin to get tired earlier, so I'm able to fall asleep around 9:45. Somewhere between 9:45 and 10:45 is my ideal window to fall asleep. I'm trying my best to get that a little bit closer to 9:45, but most nights it's 9:15. When I wake up early consistently, which I do indeed do, it helps me fall asleep earlier as well. And with it being pitch black outside by 5 o'clock at night, my body is already starting to unwind. So if I wake up earlier, then I go to sleep earlier, and I'm taking advantage of those beautiful, precious morning hours. Huga may honestly be my love language. I have an entire video dedicated to Hugifying your life in the kitchen. I will have that linked for you guys up here in the cards as well as the description box down below. That way you don't click away from today's video. You can go ahead and check that out when you're done. And the reason I love Huga so much, because it involves making your life feel so comfy and cozy. I swear, I think the reason, well, there's a lot of reasons, but I think we love the holiday season so much because of the dim lighting and all of the beautiful ambiance, like the tree and the decorations. Of course, the magic and the beauty of celebrating Christmas is a huge part of that, but I really do think that a lot of it comes down to that twinkle and that glimmer and shimmer of that beautiful, cozy feeling that the holidays bring. And so when we built this house, lighting was so important to us, whether that was natural lighting. We literally added more windows than I can count, and we made windows significantly bigger during our building process. As it gets dark later throughout the day, having that dim, low lighting throughout the house is something that I love so much. I'm always diffusing essential oils. I talk about that with you guys so much, but I'm diffusing essential oils. I have salt lamps throughout the house. There's so much that you can do, but whatever means comfort and coziness to you is what is most important. For me, during these dark, gloomy months, if I can look around the house and it feels cozy, I can put on my coziest clothes, my robe, it really helps me feel that warm hug feeling of the whole Huga concept. And so when I can appreciate the darkness that comes at 5 p.m. because I'm looking forward to the lighting. I'm looking forward to turning on my flameless candles, and I'm looking forward to dimming all of the lights or turning on the salt lamps in all of the different rooms. I genuinely look forward to that moment. I think that if we can bring that extra layer of comfort and coziness, it does help us embrace the gloom that can come with the winter months. So I know, especially during these very gloomy months at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we begin to feel that crash. There's a lot that goes into that. Of course, the sleep that we got the night before, the level of hydration, the foods that we're eating throughout the day, whether we're keeping our blood sugar stabilized, what we had for lunch. There's a lot of intricacies that go into potentially that 2, 3, 4 p.m. slump. And I know our first thought is to get that extra hit of caffeine. And I'm somebody who loves a little afternoon boost as well. So I'm right there with you. But I share here all of the time on my channel how I like to make a tea and take some supplementation during this time to help my body feel its absolute best. And so I have an entire lineup of supplements here that I want to share with you guys. And you can pick and choose which ones. Not every supplement that I'm recommending here is an absolute necessity, but there are a lot of energy boosting supplements. And if you are a member of the Living Well membership area, Supplement Protocols launched 2 weeks ago. So you can hop right into the supplement and herbs page. You can shop all of my absolute favorite supplements depending on the level of support that you need. So we're gonna start with the lowest hanging fruit. And of course, that's vitamin D3 and K2. So during this gloomy season, we know that the sun is not out and that we're not getting that exposure to vitamin D. So this is an absolute must. And while I'm not working with biooptimizers on today's video, it is an everyday standard in our lives and something that I will never be without. So I like to take these two together in the afternoon time, right around 2 o'clock. So these ones are absolutely incredible for that extra added boost. Then I've been sharing over on Instagram how I like to take L-theanine at the end of the day with my lemon balm tea, but additionally, I love to take L-theanine in the morning with a little bit of caffeine. So in the morning when I have my first cup of coffee, when you take these two together, I swear it is absolute rocket fuel. And another supplement that I've been layering on since October, not necessarily at the same time as L-theanine, but is saffron. So saffron is incredible for our overall mood, our inflammation levels, and those depressive-like feelings. So anxiety and depression, saffron in double-blind studies has actually been outperforming many medications that are written for those conditions. So saffron is one that I highly recommend. It's anti-inflammatory. It's beautiful for our nervous system. And again, if you are somebody who's prone to that anxiety, depressive feelings or thought, then this would be a supplement that I would highly consider including. So these two together are great, and L-theanine with your coffee in the morning is unbelievable. I swear, I call it my morning rocket fuel. Then we all know that as women, if we are low in iron or ferritin, our energy levels tend to tank. And instead of supplementing with iron, which I'm not a huge fan of, and that's not to say that I don't suggest it here and there, but very rarely do I suggest somebody actually supplement with iron. Instead, I prefer that somebody goes on a beef organ complex, because this is a really beautiful way to get all of your B vitamins and to get that added boost to help your body produce its own ferritin and to increase your stored ferritin levels. Most of the time it's a copper deficiency where potentially we have over supplemented with zinc, and therefore it has impacted our copper levels, or our stress levels are really high. Therefore, we have impacted our copper levels, or we eat too much processed food. Therefore, our zinc and copper levels are off. So when we can supplement with something like beef organs, it helps both our zinc and our copper levels. Therefore, it impacts that stored ferritin. So you'll notice a tremendous difference on your lab work, including something like this, rather than necessarily jumping to the ferritin or the iron supplements. Again, not to say that nobody should ever go on an iron supplementation, but but we should be monitoring them very, very closely, where this is a beautiful boost in energy, and it's a really natural way to do so. Speaking of B vitamins, inositol might be my absolute favorite B vitamin of all B vitamins. So inositol is something I've been really, really passionate about and loving for the last 5 years, because I noticed that my mood was impacted so much after I had Sawyer, and I started really ramping up my inositol levels. I was like, wow, I feel overall happier. My reactivity is generally better to situations. And in addition to that, my energy levels are significantly better. Life extensions, there's a few different ones, but this one, my body does really well with. I've tried a ton of different varieties of all of the supplements that I'm sharing with you today, and these are the ones that biologically I tend to do best with. From a metabolic standpoint, my body really eats these ones up and knows how to utilize them, but oh my goodness. Some days I will take 2 of these, so 2,000 milligrams in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and I thrive on this. And if you're somebody who does have hormone dysfunction, you've heard me mention this before. If you're a client of mine, if you're inside Living Well, if you are a subscriber to my channel, but if you are somebody with hormone dysfunction like PCOS, or somebody who does have painful periods or cystic breast tissue or fibroids, you would also do beautifully with taking some inositol aside from the mood benefits. Because again, kind of going back to the lemon ginger tonic, when we can impact our hormones from the inside out, that's when we see tremendous changes. But inositol is one that I take and I'm like, oh yeah, it's kicked in. I'm definitely feeling a difference. I feel as though I can see things clearly and that my mood is just overall brighter. Now sharing 2 adaptogens, because adaptogens are exactly as they sound. They can go into my body compared to your body and adapt and be utilized biologically however you may need. So if I'm somebody who needs a wee bit more support in the cognitive area, or I'm somebody whose nervous system could use a little bit more nourishment, that's the beautiful part about adaptogens, is that they can go in and they're extremely agile, and they can help treat the body on a holistic level, which is everything we want. As a holistic and functional nutritionist, we treat the body as one. And so instead of going in and segmenting into different categories, I look at root cause and something that may be impacting us and pulling us away from homeostasis. And that's where adaptogens truly shine above everything else. So ashwagandha is extremely calming. It's also great for energy. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it is extremely calming. It's also great for energy. It's also incredible for sleep because it does have that adaptogenic properties to it. With ashwagandha, I don't recommend that we stay on it on a daily and consistent basis. I'm somebody who uses this one for 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Or I'll recommend to different clients that they take it 3 days per week and they take the other 4 days off. So I really want to drive that home with ashwagandha. That is not one that I recommend as daily use, but boy, oh boy, does this one really help. And again, another supplement stack. If we're talking about L-theanine, you know, the rocket fuel with our coffee, when we pair ashwagandha and L-theanine together, our endocrine system will really thank us. So maybe in the morning when you take your L-theanine with your coffee, you could also take your ashwagandha, and that would be a really beautiful time to do so, but no more than 3 days a week or 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. And then there's rhodiola, and this one out of all of the supplements today, I can't say that, no, because the magnesium, the D, this is really hard. It's like picking a favorite child, but this one, I have just seen so much success in my practice when I put women on rhodiola. So rhodiola is incredible for energy and for endurance, but it is unbelievable for stress, anxiety, and depression. This one helps with mental clarity and focus. It also helps the body work to combat anemia. So again, going back to iron supplementation, I feel like that's always a really quick one to jump on if you want that energy boost, but it can become problematic if we take too much of that iron. Where this, again, because it's an adaptogen and it's agile and it works with our physiological systems, it can go in and help us from a cellular and a blood building standpoint to combat anemia. I know I'm really excited and passionate about rhodiola right now, but I have just seen so much success with this in my own life and with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women who I've worked with in my practice. If there's a day we're not feeling extremely motivated, that's when I would highly recommend supplementing with rhodiola. Okay, last but not least, of course, we have to talk about hydration. So we've had our lemon ginger tonic. We're being conscientious of staying hydrated throughout the day, but sometimes it just doesn't happen and it's dark and it's cold outside and it's dry outside, and therefore we're feeling a wee bit dehydrated. One of my absolute favorite hacks to do in the afternoon time is to make myself an element electrolyte. So I just pour it into, not this big of a bottle, I actually pour it into 8 ounces of water because I like it really salty. And the watermelon salt is my favorite, but I'm out. So this is the raspberry salt, a very close second. I like to take this in the morning at around 11, or again around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. You can take it with your afternoon supplementation. It's a really great way to get all of that down without having to taste all of the supplements that you're taking. Again, you're not taking all of these at once or all of these in general, but whichever supplements you choose to add into your routine. But strategically hydrating with electrolytes is really, really important to give your body that overall cellular hydration to function properly, especially in these dark, colder months. And my fifth and final tip for today's video is to stay active, to keep moving. I share all of the time over on Instagram my steps, the amount of steps I'm getting on a day-to-day basis from my Oura Ring, and I am reaching at a minimum 12,000 steps, like 363 days out of the year, because I just keep moving. Of course, we want to be cozy and enjoy our lemon ginger tonic in the morning, feeling the comfort of our home, but it is equally as important to stay active. And in these cooler months, you don't have to do really intense HIIT workouts or Barry's Boot Camp or Orange Theory. You don't have to do all of that. What I'm suggesting is that we get ourselves outdoors, we go for a walk, preferably early in the morning before 9 a.m. I'm going to get in some additional steps to reach my step goal before I get them off the bus. So walking, doing some beautiful Pilates, doing some rebounding, maybe it's lifting heavy weights a few days per week, but just being mindful that you're staying active, because I get it. I'm right there with you. When I'm on my computer and I'm all cozy, I like to work with a blanket around me. All of a sudden I'll look up and I'm like, I've been sitting for 3 hours, but I'm too warm and I'm too cozy. I don't want to get up, and I especially don't want to go outside in the cold. But after I do so, and after I get in that extra movement in the cold weather, I feel so clear cognitively. I feel awake, my body feels refreshed, and honestly, it's just a really great break in the middle of my day. So I think staying active is a really important one to end on. But I hope that you all enjoyed today's video, and if you did, you can let me know by giving it a big thumbs up. And now the subscribe button is right over here on the screen. Give that a click, that way you don't miss a single video, and I hope to see you back here next Thursday.